These American federal agencies, institutions, and commercial banks are playing a major role in developing regulations that will inevitably target Bitcoin. They have made it very clear in media reports, press releases, and policy documents that they see financial privacy, the popularity of Bitcoin, and the value of Bitcoin as direct threats responsible for what they define as cybercrime. Yet time and again, the American people have been fleeced and looted by many of these same agencies and many of these same commercial and central banks. The big banks like HSBC can launder millions of dollars for drug cartels. Nothing happens to them, no one goes to jail. The CIA has laundered untold millions through criminal banks like BCCI, a bank which ran its own sex trafficking operation involving prepubescent kids. And again, nothing was done, no one went to jail. FTX can launder aid money supposedly destined for Ukraine, funnel it back as campaign contributions to the same political party, developing crypto regulations while painting Bitcoin as a national security threat. Sam Bankman-Fried was the only person arrested, and right now he's not in prison. He's in a multi-million-dollar mansion in California, about to get 10 of the 13 federal charges against him dismissed. The current president's son can launder as much money as he wants after leaving the evidence on a laptop he abandoned, and the intelligence community comes to his defense, falsely claiming that the data on his laptop, now admitted to be his, was a Russian hoax. These guys are the real criminals, and if you think they care about stopping money laundering or cybercrime in any meaningful way, you have been had.
Whitney Webb, during her keynote at the Bitcoin Conference 2024, articulated a compelling narrative about the intersection of government actions, financial institutions, and the future of cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin. She posited that there is a concerted effort by the government, in collaboration with major financial players like BlackRock, to undermine Bitcoin and the decentralized financial system it represents. Webb argued that this initiative aims to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible, only to abandon it later, thereby extinguishing the hopes of those seeking financial autonomy through cryptocurrencies. Webb's assertions are underscored by her observations on the hypocrisy of financial institutions and government agencies. For instance, she pointed out how banks like HSBC have been implicated in laundering vast sums of money for drug cartels, yet face minimal repercussions. Similarly, she highlighted the CIA's historical involvement in laundering money through institutions like BCCI, which was notorious for its ties to sex trafficking. This double standard raises questions about the motives behind the government's scrutiny of Bitcoin, which they label as a cybersecurity threat. Webb also drew attention to the FTX scandal, where funds allegedly meant for Ukraine were funneled back into US election campaigns. She criticized the lack of accountability for high-profile individuals involved in such operations, noting that figures like Sam Bankman-Fried, who faced numerous charges, continue to live comfortably. This juxtaposition of accountability highlights a troubling trend where the government targets Bitcoin users while overlooking the financial crimes committed by established institutions. Moreover, Webb emphasized the broader implications of these actions on financial privacy and freedom. She warned that as governments and financial entities push for regulations that target cryptocurrencies, they simultaneously threaten free speech and privacy rights. The establishment's narrative frames Bitcoin as a tool for cybercrime, yet Webb argues that this framing serves to distract from the systemic issues within the financial system itself. So we can say these Whitney Webb's insights at the Bitcoin conference illuminate a critical struggle between the ideals of financial independence represented by cryptocurrencies and the entrenched interests of powerful financial institutions and government agencies. But these were not all, as she warned us about more of their plans too, so let's listen to her again.
If nothing is done to stop these policies that are being drafted behind closed doors, use a Bitcoin mixer and take steps to keep your Bitcoin transactions anonymous or more private, you'll be accused of suspiciously acting like a cyber criminal. Complain about the obvious double standard, you'll be accused of spreading disinformation and become a cyber criminal yourself. What should particularly concern us now is how these agencies, entities, and public-private partnerships plan to manufacture consent for their policies. As things stand right now, a lot of the policies dreamt up by these groups that I've just described, I would hope, would be rejected by the vast majority of Americans. That is, of course, unless the right crisis were to come along and suddenly make most Americans extremely concerned and fearful of cybercrime. While warnings of a so-called cyber pandemic floated around in 2021 as a series of high-profile and highly publicized ransomware attacks took place, we haven't heard as much since. But now, with the last global crisis, COVID-19, officially over, according to the US government and the World Health Organization, some are raising the alarm that a new global crisis is soon to make a dramatic appearance. Given what I've been saying, let's check in with the World Economic Forum and see what they think the next global crisis will be. Well, in January of this year, Jeremy Jurgens, number 2 at the WEF after Klaus Schwab, asserted that a, quote, catastrophic mutating event will strike the world in 2 years. What a confident prediction. So what is this catastrophic mutating event that will strike the world before 2025? If you guessed a, quote, global catastrophic cyber event, you win. At a presentation at this year's Davos, Jurgens claimed that 93% of cyber leaders and 86% of cyber business leaders believe that the geopolitical instability makes a catastrophic cyber event inevitable before 2025. Joining Jurgens in fear-mongering over a cyber doomsday was Jürgen Stock, the head of Interpol, one of the most influential members of WEFPAC. I should also add that the United Nations, which as I mentioned earlier, is currently making its new cybercrime treaty, has named Interpol as uniquely positioned to be the implementing partner of a number of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, specifically when it comes to disrupting financial streams of terrorists, securing cyberspace, and curbing illicit markets. Jurgens and Stock's comments about a catastrophic cyber attack before 2025 spawned hysterical mainstream media headlines warning of cyber apocalypse 2023. That same month, Newsweek's print edition featured an ominous hacker on the cover with the words, "Hack Attack, how cybercriminals outwit all efforts to stop them." Many of the experts quoted in the Hack Attack article work for companies that are WEFPAC members. In recent years, there has been much talk about a doomsday cyber attack, and now it seems top people at the WEF and WEFPAC feel confident enough to put a relatively short timeline on it. How bad will this attack be if and when it materializes? Considering that the current head of the Department of Homeland Security has claimed that the next cyber attack will kill many people, it seems that a cyber 9/11 could be waiting in the wings, which of course would be followed shortly thereafter by a Cyber Patriot Act, or something very similar.
So, you heard Whitney Webb's further remarks at the Bitcoin Conference 2024. She painted a stark picture of the looming threats to Bitcoin and the broader cryptocurrency landscape. She warned that if current regulatory policies are enacted, individuals using Bitcoin could be labeled as cyber criminals. This potential shift in narrative is particularly concerning as the world transitions from the COVID-19 pandemic to what Webb predicts will be a new global crisis, as suggested by the World Economic Forum, WEF. Webb mockingly referenced Jeremy Jurgens of the WEF, who confidently predicted that a catastrophic mutating event would emerge within 2 years before 2025. She pointed out the irony in these predictions, especially as public health concerns seem to be resurfacing with the rise of monkeypox. This serves as a backdrop for the fear-mongering surrounding cybercrime, which is expected to escalate in the coming years. The head of Interpol also echoed these sentiments, forecasting a cybercrime crisis that would be blamed on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Webb emphasized the absurdity of this narrative, considering the historical context of financial institutions that have committed significant crimes without facing serious consequences. Moreover, Webb warned that if these draconian policies are implemented, anyone attempting to use Bitcoin mixers or other privacy-enhancing tools could be unjustly accused of cybercriminal behavior. She expressed concern over the potential for these narratives to gain traction, especially during a time when fear surrounding cybercrime is being amplified by media and government discourse. In conclusion, Whitney Webb's insights reveal a troubling trend where the narrative surrounding Bitcoin is manipulated to serve the interests of powerful financial institutions and government agencies. As they prepare to enact policies that could criminalize the use of cryptocurrencies, she urges the public to remain vigilant and question the motives behind these regulations. And that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future updates. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.